تجده عنو لك في النبائب كل هم وغم سيندلي بأسمتك يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله بنبوتك يا محمد يا محمد يا محمد يا محمد يا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم بولايتك يا علي يا علي يا علي يا علي أدركني في سبيل الله بأسمتك يا بطول زرا مدد يا بطول زرا مدد يا بطول زرا مدد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وآل اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
एक बार फिर से
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
दुनिया सजावने वाला कुन फरमावने वाला दुनिया सजावने वाला कुन फरमावने वाला कुन तुम्हें पहले पंज नूर बनाने वाला साकू ईमान दिता साकू कुरान दिता साकू ईमान दिता साकू कुरान दिता तेरी बड़ी मेहरबानी चन इमरान दिता Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Today, I would like to talk to you about two things. To be more specific, it will encompass a bit more, but the focus is pride and tawbah. Not just pride, however, I would like to expand upon it a little bit in what the things are, what the specifics are. What mistakes people commonly make subconsciously, they don't even realize, and it leads them astray. Things like charab zuban, a phrase that we hear in Urdu. It's an older phrase, which means the blubber speech, the fat speech. So,
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
living in Europe, we have a very different view of the world. We have a very different society. We live in a different culture. We're raised differently. And certain nuances that are common in where Islam is cultures that are affected or deeply intertwined with Islam, they are different. And living here in the Western world, we are what is referred to as the orphans of both culture and religion. So there are certain things that are completely lost on the Western world. And among those things are things like pride. Now, when we talk about pride, what do we understand under pride? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's start. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So when we talk pride, we initially think narcissism. This person thinks very highly of himself. This person has a very high opinion of himself. And you think, well, that is pride. And that's it. But then when we ask, okay, what about things like confidence? Where does pride start? Or where does confidence stop? And where does pride start? Where does self-esteem stop and confidence start? What's the difference between pride and confidence? And these are things that you're like, okay, maybe a good portion of people will decide for themselves, okay, to be able to do things and to be able to trust in my own judgment, I would say that's confident. But to brag about myself to somebody else and to sell myself as a very capable and functional person, that would be, let's say, pride. Okay? That makes sense. A lot of people would agree with that. And some people will say, yeah, well, self-esteem is very important, it's very healthy, it's what keeps you alive, because if you have no self-esteem, then you are easily manipulated and people can take advantage of you easily. With too much self-esteem or with too much pride, they can also be taken advantage of very easily. You just have to appeal to their sense of pride. There are a number of people, I'm pretty sure everybody knows at least one person, where a little bit of flattery gets you a long way, that person. Like, just one or two well-placed compliments and that guy will be singing your praises. So, these are the questions that we have maybe heard, asked ourselves here living in Europe. What are these questions that we ask ourselves in the East Coast? Or how is it viewed? How does Islam see it? Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I was reading Natural Balagha, and in Natural Balagha, Maulana Islam was giving an example. He was talking to the people about doubts and about pride. And Maulana Islam was saying, he was explaining about Harun and Musa. And Maulana Islam says that Musa and Harun, they came to Pharaoh, and they came with their woolen shirts and their simple plain clothes. And they said to Pharaoh, they said, let our people go. You've all heard it, let our people go. And we guarantee the honor, your honor, and the prosperity of your nation that will remain untouched. We guarantee the future of your nation. And Pharaoh looked at these two shepherds. One was a shepherd, the other one was working as a laborer or as a slave. And he looks at them, turns to his own advisors and to his court, and he says, they are guaranteeing the prosperity and the future of my nation and my honor, my dignity. They should at least have like some gold on them. They should have a gold bangle, something. Maulana Sam says that was his pride and his undoing. Now, you hear that, and we, with European minds, think, what's wrong? How's that pride? Maulana Islam says, first of all, Maulana Islam says his pride is pride. You deny that, you're no longer Shia, you're no longer Muslim, you're not even Sunni if you want to be. You're no longer Muslim. So Maulana Islam says it's pride, then it's pride. So it cannot be a mistake in our hadith, but it can be a mistake in our thinking, in our understanding. Maulana says, if there is a hadith, somebody asks Maulana, if there is a hadith that we don't understand, which seems confusing to us, what should we do? Because you are not allowed to deny the hadiths that are brought to you. Mullah says, then return those hadiths to us. and say, Mola, you know better. I am not worthy, I am not capable of doing this. But you cannot deny it. You return it to Mola. And inshallah, you pray for that you understand it. That's how this is. So, returning to the question, pride. Now, he is a pharaoh, he is the king or the leader of Egypt, which historically was like prosperous at the time. And he's looking at these two people, one a shepherd, one a slave. And if you think about it in today's terms, or by logical terms, you would see that what is wrong with his statement that he's saying that they should at least have some gold or something. How can they guarantee the prosperity of my nation? If they said, let our people go, we'll be grateful for you. Let our people go, we'll pray for you. Then it will be different. But he is surprised. Pharaoh is surprised that they are guaranteeing his nation. Well, he knows Moses. Moses grew up alongside him. But he is surprised at the notion, the idea, that they will guarantee his nation. And he asks himself, how are they going to do that when they do not have a little bit of gold between them? And this is what Mawla Ali called pride. And this is something that we forget when we are going about our daily deeds. What it is Pharaoh took his position, his status, his situation, he took it for granted. One of the Islam says this world is a trial for you, it is a test for you. You are not here forever. There are some days they are in your favor, there are some days that are against you. When they are in your favor, do not be overjoyed in excess, do not be overly pompous. And when they are against you, then be patient. And when you are Pharaoh, then it becomes inconceivable to you that things could be different. And the mere notion that these people could guarantee my future, they could guarantee my nation, what can they do? He sees them very, very small compared to himself. But not only Pharaoh, everybody in the Egyptian nation feels that. We're too small people, how can they do that? And this is what we call pride. When you place yourself unknowingly above somebody else. Pride is a very self-conscious thing. There is the conscious version of pride, yes, absolutely, the one that we all know as narcissism. But there's the subconscious one that creeps up on you as you move on in life, as you get on in years, as you get older, as you learn things. Then you gain what is called pride. Because you gain a certain standard, and you live to that standard, and that standard which says, oh, I won't go this low, or I'm not as bad off as this. Oh, I can do more than so and so. That's pride. And that is what brings you down. That is what separates you from your Lord. When you read the sermons of Mawla Ali Islam, whichever sermon you start, whenever Mawla Ali Islam is giving advice, the very first thing he says, the best advice I can give you is to fear Allah. Most of Mawla Ali Islam starts here, and the next thing he says, and remember death. Fear Allah and remember death. And that keeps you humble. The position you are in, the abilities you have, the strengths you have, that you are healthy, these are all things that are guaranteed or that are given. First of all, they are not guaranteed. But if you have it, the guarantor is Allah. As long as Allah has dedicated it for you, then it is guaranteed for you. No one can take it, and no one can expand on it. But the moment that it is no longer written in your destiny or in your list, then it is no longer there, and nobody can give it to you. And then we pride ourselves on these things over time. And that is the danger. And we pride ourselves on all kinds of things. We pride ourselves on our wealth. We pride ourselves on our physical fitness. We pride ourselves on our youth. We pride ourselves on our aesthetics. We pride ourselves on our knowledge. We pride ourselves on our academics. And today we call these things not pride, we call it achievements. I achieved such and such grades in school. This is an achievement. No, it's pride. I managed to run 5 kilometers today in 30 minutes. It's an achievement. No, it's pride. It does not differentiate you. It does not separate you from the next person. It does not make you more able, more capable than the person who has a wheelchair, who's bound to a wheelchair. And this is what we forget. If Allah's blessing is on you, then you can achieve something. And if Allah's blessing is not there, then even if it's in front of you, you can't. Salawat. So pride is the misconception that you have achieved something. The misconception that you are ahead of the curve, that you are excelling, that you are winning. That's pride. In reality, everything you do, or everything you earn, or everything is in your situation, in your phase of life right now, is from Allah. And everything you should be for Allah. Salawat. The problem is that people look and they think, I should get physically active, I should get healthy, I should read more about, I should study more, I should get a degree, I should improve myself socially or academically or whatever, and then I will be somewhere. You should know that you can do those things, but doing those things does not make you a better Muslim per se. It makes you someone who chases the world as much as everybody else. It makes you better in chasing the world. But it does not make you chase faith. Salawat. There are 4 kinds of people. The first is the person who cannot do wrong simply because he does not have the capacity to. He lacks the funds, he lacks the strength. He is put in a position where he hasn't much flexibility. The second person is the person who is an open oppressor. He spends his time riding his horses, using his swords, employing his soldiers, busy with expansionism, and trying to achieve as much material success as he can. That's the second person. The third person is the person who is very committed to doing things, to do deeds of the next world for this world. But he does not stop to consider which deeds of this world he can do for the next world. And the fourth person is the person who is unable to achieve anything, who is a failure by default, who is incompetent. And instead of working on that incompetence, he sits back and declares himself a yogi, a beggar, a destitute person who's not interested in the world. He forfeits the world. He says, I turn my back on the world. But in reality, he has nothing to do with those skills, with those qualities of humbleness or restraint. Salawat. So 2 of those. So 2 of those groups, they are fairly. The The first one being those who lack the capacity to do anything wrong, so they can't do anything wrong. They don't do anything wrong. The second being those who are open oppressors. Those are also very few. Open oppressors you will see all over the place. People who are very rich, people who are in high political positions. These are people who are political and worldly people who are chasing the world and oppressing or just striving for the world. The question is though,